What's going on, lads? It's Billy the Kid here, and I hope you're having a great day, and thank you for joining me for today's video, which is my first impressions of Ace Combat Infinity's beta. Now, the beta went live, at least in Europe anyway, on February the 4th, and it's scheduled to go down on February the 11th. So if you are into Ace Combat or Jet Air Combat, go ahead and check out the PS Store. It is free to download. Now, since it is a beta, this commentary is going to be relatively short. I just want to touch on a few things that I've noticed in the beta, and just want to give my initial impressions, basically. So first off the bat, I want to talk a little bit about the gameplay itself. It feels very much Ace Combat. There's no real difference between Ace Combat Infinity's combat. That's a lot of combat. There's no real difference between the gameplay of Ace Combat Infinity and, say, the previous installment in the series, Ace Combat Assault Horizon. The only big difference, and I was really glad to not see this return, is dogfight mode from Ace Combat Assault Horizon. I really did feel that it was just too much on rails, it was too much quick time events, and it really just killed the gameplay aspect for me for Ace Combat Assault Horizon, so I was really glad not to see that return. However, that was really one or two things that I didn't like about Ace Combat Assault Horizon. I did feel like the gameplay was good. I felt that the little effects that you have, like just what you saw there when you destroy a jet up close, the oil splatters all over the screen, I liked those effects, so I am really glad that they have decided to reintroduce these into Ace Combat Infinity. Now, the plot of the gameplay, like I said, this is just a beta, but the beta includes 2 single-player missions and co-op multiplayer gameplay. First off, let's just talk very quickly about the single-player missions. One thing I noticed straight away about the single-player missions, one of which you're watching right now, I think it's the very first mission you get, is they're very short, extremely short. If you go really fast, you know, if you just put your finger down in the afterburner, kill all the enemies, the missions only take like 5 minutes to pass. Now, in previous Ace Combat games, that was kind of silly. I mean, from what I remember, the missions would go on sometimes for 20 minutes, especially if it's like one of the really big missions. Ace Combat 4 had them, Ace Combat 5 had them, 0 had them. Nearly all the games had very long missions, except for this one. They seem, now, like I said, this is just a beta. Maybe they will lengthen the missions in the full release. But from Ace Combat Infinity's beta, I was a little bit disappointed with the single player missions. I was hoping they were a bit longer. Story wise, I don't know what to say about the story really. It's a mixture of bringing back some of the elements of the previous Ace Combat games in the fictional universe called Strange Real. Strange Real basically was our planet Earth, but was with different countries, but very similar to our own. So basically you had countries like Yuktobania, which is like Russia, Osea, which is like the US. If you're a previous Ace Combat fan, you'll know what I'm on about, but if you're not, then you're probably scratching your head saying, what the hell's he on about? But basically that's what happened then with Ace Combat Assault Horizon. They decided, let's do it the real world instead of the Strange Real, and a lot of fans, including myself, weren't happy about that, because we felt that it was going in a direction where you had to portray basically something the right way, otherwise people were saying, oh well, that would never happen. I felt that if you stuck with the Strange Real world, you're open to a whole lot of different ideas for storylines. But either way, that's for another commentary. Basically what they've done is they've mixed the real world with some elements of the previous games in terms of storyline. Basically, the Ulysses asteroid has struck the Earth and basically ruined the whole planet, and a lot of the different elements of the previous games are present, namely the soundtrack. Pretty much the entire soundtrack is from different games like Ace Combat 4, Ace Combat 5, 0, and I am actually happy about that, I guess, because the soundtrack for Ace Combat, especially those games I just mentioned, are pretty incredible. Really good orchestral music, rock music, the type of music that you really get pumped when you're flying a very fast jet fighter. So I do like the soundtrack element of the previous games making an appearance in Ace Combat Infinity. But other than that, I can't say I like the storyline. I mean, like I said, this is just a beta, so I haven't even tried all the other missions, but I have seen some of the other missions that people managed to get to play, especially the Stonehenge mission. But that's for another commentary when the full game gets released. So far, single player missions, very, very short in the beta, so I do hope that they are just, you know, lengthened in the final product. Now let's talk about the main aspect I think Namco have decided to go with Ace Combat Infinity, and that's the multiplayer. Now right now in the beta, the only multiplayer that's available is co-op missions with other players against AI. There is no player v player multiplayer in the beta. Now I can only hope that that's just in the beta and they do introduce this in the full game, because to me it's kind of silly just to have players versus AI. That was one thing I was really looking forward to in the beta, player v player multiplayer. Well, unfortunately it's not there. It's just for the beta, the player versus AI. Now one thing I've heard people being worried about, and I have to say I was a little bit worried about when I heard Ace Combat Infinity was going to be free to play. People were worried about the possibility of players just buying planes and parts, etc., and having an edge over people who wouldn't do that and who would just rank up naturally over time. The whole aspect of pay to win. You know, you use your real money to buy the most advanced stuff, and that way you get more points than everybody else. To be honest, like, I don't know, I can't tell you off the top of my head if people are actually allowed to buy and use real money transactions in the beta. I can't say, you know, I couldn't see them actually doing that. Maybe, I'm pretty sure they will do it in the real, in the actual launch of the game, but off the top of my head I can actually remember playing with guys who had far more advanced jets than I did, and I can't tell you if they had that on launch or, you know, if they just played it non-stop and racked up loads of points. And I only have two planes on startup, the F4 and an Su-25, which I haven't used yet, and I've actually done pretty well. I've actually come in second quite a lot in most of the co-op missions. So this whole aspect of pay to win to me is kind of silly with Ace Combat Infinity right now. You know, people were worried that it was going down the lines of War Thunder and people using money to buy real or not real, excuse me, more advanced aircraft and parts, etc. So right now I can't tell you if that is the story in Ace Combat Infinity's beta. I can't tell you if people are using real money, because I just don't know. But I don't think it's going to be a big factor when the game finally releases. If the gameplay is still the same and if the mechanics are still the same, then I don't really see it being a problem. So lads, that's pretty much all my first impressions of Ace Combat Infinity's beta. I am enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, it is a good experience to get back into Ace Combat feel. But to be honest, I just wish that Namco would make a HD collection remake of Ace Combat 4, 5 and 0, but that is for another commentary, that's for another story. So lads, let me know in the comment section below what you think of the video, what you think of the review. Let me know if you've played Ace Combat Infinity's beta. Let me know what you think of the gameplay, the whole free to play aspect. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as usual. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you're new. Click on the description, which will give you a link to my Twitter account, so you can go ahead and follow me there. And once again lads, it's much appreciated that you watched the video. Thank you very much, it's always appreciated. I'll see you again lads, and thanks again for watching.